Hello everyone and welcome back to another Minecraft update video. This is Snapshot 25W32A for the full drop, and this one, my friends, is going to be a big one for all you builders out there. That's right, the beloved chain block has now been renamed to Iron Chain. I kid, this just means that we're making room for other items related to the chain block. There's lots of them, but first we're going to blitz through everything else in this snapshot. Starting with the copper golem statues. All of these will now drop when mined by the player, so I'm guessing there was an issue with some of them not dropping. They also now pop off as an item if pushed by a piston. And rejoice, the copper trapdoor recipe has been changed from 6 ingots to 4 ingots. And that is to make way for another crafting recipe. Here I am teasing the items that are coming, and I've probably already put them on the thumbnail of this video, right? Next up, we're going to look at the shelf, but a quick Minecraft quiz. Do you know what every item or block inside of these shelves are? There are so many different items in the game today, and this snapshot actually adds a whole bunch more. Did you notice what's changed about the items and blocks in front of us? I am switching back and forth between last week's Minecraft snapshot and this one. So the items and blocks on the shelves used to be in the middle, but now they're sort of sitting on the bottom of the shelf. So things no longer float when they're put on a shelf. Makes a lot of sense. Last week we learned that hoppers work with the shelves, and I forgot to mention that droppers do as well. And this was originally different from Bedrock edition of the game, but as of the last preview on Bedrock, hoppers and droppers also work with shelves, so they work on both Java and Bedrock. I also found myself a little bit confused by how the comparator outputs were working, and thanks to my chat, I now fully understand what's going on here. This is binary, except it's flipped, so you need to read it from left to right. If you have a digit of 1, you get an output of 1, and then the next digit represents 2. So if I go and put 1 in here, you'll see that we boost the signal up to 3. If I take this 1 out, it will go down to 2. So right of 2 is 4. If I put 1 in here, we're going to go all the way up to 6. If I put 1 in this slot, we will go up to 7. And I think I can even take this 1 out and it will go down by 2 to 5. And that was your very quick binary lesson with X. But yeah, if you want to know more, go look up binary. It's really quite easy to understand. Oh, some of you might be curious as to what this is. I had a little bit of fun doing a redstone contraption and making a slot machine. If you get 3 green, you win. There's actually no like win detection. I just thought it was funny that you could press the button and roll something different each time, and then the contraption goes ahead and resets itself. Slot machines in Minecraft. That's exactly what Mojang wanted, right? Also related to last week's snapshot, a lot of you pointed out that the toggle feature for attacking could be used as an AFK auto clicker. Unfortunately, this isn't the case though. I'm going to go over here to the farm and click, and it only attacks the 1 time. But as soon as I aim at a block, it starts clicking over and over again. And then when I go back to the entities, it doesn't actually attack them. So maybe Mojang had already thought about this and decided that they didn't want auto clickers like that in the game. It does, however, mean that using this feature for combat is completely pointless, because you don't ever attack an entity, but you can see if we aim at a block, it'll start mining it. Who knows, this could be subject to change. But in this snapshot, there was a change to sneak being in toggle mode. You'd be able to open up a GUI and remain sneaking. As you can see, it now puts me into standing. This is the same for opening chat as well. Okay, next up, bugs, but don't skip ahead. There's a good reason that I bring these up. First, here are the ones that you should know about. Sheep have been eating half as often as they're supposed to since this snapshot here. That was practically 4 years ago, so for 4 years our sheep farms have been half as efficient. What drops from a sweet berry bush used to be hard-coded, and now it's been converted into a loot table. Now, most of these bugs were basically introduced in the very last snapshot, and a lot of them were relating to the F3 screen. So if you were using the FPS counter like I had been and you pressed F1, it would actually stay on the screen. So now F1 will hide the F3 screen. Okay, and now we can get to the important stuff about bugs. There are no bug fixes related to the copper golem in this snapshot. And this message, well, it's more for Mojang if they happen to be watching. I'm sure they're aware, but the copper golem desperately needs some bug fixing when it comes to its item sorting features. I've done some testing with these, trying to create an automated system and discovering that it's really tricky to get them to do the sorting you want them to do. I'm not going into the details of my testing in this video, but if you happen to want to see that, there is a live stream of me designing all of this on my second channel. The main takeaway from my testing is that this is probably how players are going to intuitively try to use the copper golem. They're going to have most of their storage in one space. It's going to take up a lot of chests because there are a lot of items in this game, and we would naturally just want the copper golems to work behind the scenes, putting the items into those chests. Currently, it feels like a copper golem can only work with 10 chests at a time. Once you introduce more chests in that area, it starts to get a little buggy with its behavior. The real big problem, though, is that you need to have a large distance between each of your sets of chests in order for this to function properly. And I think the average player is going to want more than this amount of chests to automatically be sorted, and they're probably going to want to be able to have some chests that aren't sorted nearby in their storage rooms as well. So as soon as you start putting some other chests nearby, maybe decorative or functional, it's going to mess with the copper golem's behavior. And that's when this guy gets fussy and stops sorting items for various reasons. So something we'll be on the lookout for in future snapshots are bug fixes and changes to its behavior. And when we get that, hopefully I'll be able to bring you a proper, fully functioning, golem-powered storage system. That is a great opportunity for the old subscribe plug, right? If you want to catch that video in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for considering. Okay, now let's get to the big stuff. There's been lots of copper items added in this snapshot. Let's actually just go ahead and type copper and do a little bit of scrolling. It is ridiculous how many items there are now in this game. So if you spotted them or not, we now have the copper torch, the copper lantern, the copper chain, and copper bars. And the torch is the easiest place to start because there's only one variant of it. And this is the recipe, my friends: a nugget, charcoal or coal, and stick. And look at that greenish color tint that comes off of it. Very enchanting. And were you paying attention? This thing also comes with its own particle, which is the copper fire flame. Now it says that it functions exactly like a regular torch, and as you may know, the soul torch actually emits less light. I would like it if the copper was able to emit slightly less than a regular torch. And don't you love our new debug screen options? Let's just set that to always, and then we can see it up the top. So we get a block level of 10 from the soul torch. From the regular torch, we get 14. And from the copper torch, we get 14 as well. I think it'd be really cool if they just set this to 12 to give you some more lighting control options. The same thing goes for the copper lantern, so let's go ahead and test this too. It has a block level of 15. That is the same as a regular lantern. And the soul lantern has a block level of 10. So again, opportunity for this to maybe emit slightly less light. Its crafting recipe is very predictable. It's copper nuggets with the copper torch in the middle. Now, like with the other copper blocks, we have copper, then exposed, weathered, and oxidized. These will, of course, age over time, and you can scrape them to change their age. You can also wax them and unwax them too. All of this stuff applies to the copper chain and, of course, the copper bars that have been added to. Let's just see it in action, though. You can do your scraping, you can do your waxing. And yeah, it's a heck of a lot of items that they're adding into the game now, it seems. So this used to be the trapdoor recipe, but now it's there for the copper bars, so the recipe matches iron bars. And of course, we have copper nuggets, so nuggets and ingots, they can be used to make the chain. It's all coming together now. I wonder if they've got any more items or blocks up their sleeve for this update. But we're not done just yet. There was a bunch of tests I wanted to conduct on these blocks, but it seems that they are basically identical to their iron counterparts, including the sounds that they have as well. So we might expect some sounds in a future update. They can also be waterlogged like their iron counterparts, and that includes the lanterns too. But of course, not the torches. It would also appear that all of their mining speeds are identical to iron too. So we've got the iron chain, the iron bars. Are we going to see a rename to the iron lantern? And if it's of interest to you, all of these items have been grouped together with item and block tags. And that brings us to the end of all the new stuff that was featured in this snapshot. And just like last week, I've released another new track over on my Soulside Eclipse music channel. I'll link it in the description box if you want to go check that out after this video. So thanks for watching this one. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to catch future snapshots, and I'll hopefully see you next week with another one. Bye bye.